My name is Joanne Doucette, and I'm a therapist at CAFCO, the Child, Adolescent and Family Center of Ottawa. Our team is hearing a lot from families right now who have questions around how to best support their children with the stress and change and uncertainty associated with COVID-19. We've put together some ideas for you that are really geared to help you identify factors that are within your control that will build emotional resilience in your children. So, we hope you find the following 7 suggestions shared by different members of the CAFCO team to be helpful.
A good place to start is with our own self-nourishment. Right now, our children need us more than ever. They're looking to us for guidance, modeling of how to cope, as well as support and our presence. And to use that very popular analogy of the importance of putting on our own oxygen mask before putting on the oxygen masks of our children on an airplane, right now is a time, as difficult as it is, to prioritize doing the things that you know are best to take care of you. So you deserve it. We encourage you to give yourself permission to carve out moments of time to do the things that help you stay regulated and stay grounded. And your children and family will thank you.
It's also important that you're mindful of how much news and media your children are exposed to. You might be doing a great job making sure they don't watch too much news on TV, but it's possible that they have access to a lot more information than you're aware of. To deal with this, we suggest you set aside time to talk to your children, answer their questions, and be honest. But be careful not to overwhelm them. Imagine they're a cup and you're a jug of water. You want to fill them up, but not so much that the water spills over. Remember that you can also share positive news about the virus, such as research advancements or other happy stories. And finally, you can be their role model. Set aside your phone, turn off the TV, and engage in fun and relaxing activities together as a family.
One of the best ways we can support our kids right now and help them develop resilience is by encouraging them to express their emotions rather than bottle them up. Kids are very different and they will express their emotions in their own unique ways. Some kids are verbal and they're able to identify and articulate exactly what it is that they're feeling. If your child does that, it's important to validate the emotion that they're expressing. Some kids don't articulate their feelings verbally, but instead their feelings may come out in a more overt manner. You may see that a child starts teasing their sibling more than usual, or they may become argumentative with you, or they might just need more cuddles before bedtime. All of those are examples where a child may be experiencing a lot of emotions. When you see that, rather than giving consequences to your child, try to understand what your child is experiencing. Maybe talking to your child and saying, "You don't seem like yourself today. What's going on?" Or maybe, "You seem really frustrated. Help me understand." Those are examples to really slow down and understand what it is that the child is feeling. It's also important to remember that kids will need different outlets for their emotions. Some kids really like talking about their feelings, whereas other kids need more physical outlets, and other kids like to have more creative outlets. Try to understand your child's needs and try to incorporate those outlets throughout the day.
In times like these, it's not hard for our thoughts to run away with us. So our next focus is on balanced and realistic thinking, which also helps to balance kids' moods. Balanced thinking does 2 things. It acknowledges the pieces that are uncertain or challenging or scary, often the parts that are more out of our control. And it considers the positive side of things, often the pieces that are more under our control. This is different from positive thinking, which leaves out important information that things are challenging right now. And an example of positive thinking that may not be very realistic at the moment could be something like, "Don't worry about not seeing your friends this week. I'm sure it'll all be back to normal soon." Another option could be something like, "You're right. It's sad that you can't go to the park and play with your friends right now. And I'm so grateful that you can use FaceTime to talk, build Lego, and play games together." If they're worried about you getting sick, if you're working on the front lines or have to be out in the community, a balanced thought both acknowledges the worry and highlights the precautions being taken. So for example, I hear you. It's hard that I'm working right now and it seems scary. And I promise you that I'm being very careful, and so are the people that I work with, so that we can all be safe. Balanced thinking can help children to feel more calm and optimistic. And as adults, we need to lead by example and practice this way of thinking and share it out loud with the children in our lives.
So tip number 5 is remembering that authority creates a sense of security in our children. At this time when things are feeling quite uncertain, we need to be able to impose our rules and our restrictions with confidence. What this means is we are in a time where we have to impose more rules and restrictions on our children, and oftentimes we ask for their input or we ask for their opinion about some of these rules. We sometimes negotiate rules. But in this circumstance, when we're really imposing new rules that are specific to their safety, we need to be able to do so with confidence. What this means is that things like social distancing from friends might be very important for them to understand that this is not negotiable. We have to be able to do that, right? We have to be able to communicate these things. But we have to do it with some compassion as well, understanding that this is hard for them, and be able to maybe offer alternatives. So I know this is really hard, that you can't see your friends right now. I really miss my friends too. Maybe we can arrange a group chat. And if they're of an age where they don't know how to do that themselves, perhaps you can help arrange that for them so that they can connect with their friends online. Because the more we're able to communicate these new rules with confidence, the more safe and secure our kids will feel at this time of uncertainty.
Now I'd like to talk a little bit about routines. There's been a lot of discussion about routines since the schools have closed. Many parents may wonder, how well will my kids do without the regular structure of school? And what am I going to do to keep them busy with all this extra free time? Many parents are trying to find a new normal in their home and are offering school activities and other fun ways to keep their children occupied and busy. From a mental health perspective, we know that routines are very helpful for preventing or minimizing anxiety and depression. The body and the mind really do love routines. So, here are some tips to help create and maintain routines in your household. First, it's really important to set and maintain a good sleep schedule. Your family's bedtime and wake time may be more flexible now. There's the temptation to watch just one more show or play one more game. But we know that resiliency increases when we stick to a consistent and healthy sleep schedule. Next, it's often helpful for kids to have a visual cue. A printed out daily routine that kids can follow along with is a great example. Many are available online for free, or you can make your own as an activity. You may choose to have your kids do some school-based activities for a period of time in the morning, and then have some outdoor time scheduled right before lunch. You could even schedule in time for chores, other outdoor activities, a family game, and of course, make sure to schedule in some relaxation and some screen time. All of these suggestions can be very helpful, but you need to keep this next suggestion in mind when putting into place routines.
This brings us to our 7th and final suggestion, which is around flexibility. So while we know that routine really supports mental health, at times like this where there's a lot of change and stress, we know that flexibility is key as well. Every child is unique, so they're all going to present with different needs. You may see some kids that actually are relatively content at the moment. Perhaps they're relieved to be away from stresses associated with school, or maybe they're really happy to have more time at home with their parents. However, there's other kids that are really struggling and finding it difficult to adapt to all the changes, and you may see that in their mood and behavior. So, if you have something like math on the schedule for the morning, but then you notice that it's causing a lot of stress for your child, maybe even resulting in a meltdown for your child or for you, then it's really important to be flexible. It's okay to give it a pass and put it off until later. You may also notice that at bedtime, for example, your child seeks an extra story or a little more time to cuddle. And perhaps that is what they need most at that moment. And letting lights out be a little bit later, changing up the schedule a little, could be really worth it if it gives your child what they need emotionally. And that's where we will end this list is with connection. Remember that your child's connection with you is the most important thing right now. Take time just to be with them and do things together that bring you some joy. Take good care of yourself, take good care of each other. In terms of coping strategies, you are truly the most important thing. You can be everything that your children need right now.